Hey guys, it's Chuck. Welcome back to my shop. Outside Screwball, as you well know, coming to the channel. As you can look over my shoulder, you see something different that hasn't been there in the past. There's a Miller Syncrowave 250 sitting there. TIG welder, which as you know, was on my wish list. The recent video I did the other day, I oxyacetylene welded some little fittings that I made and lamented that I didn't have a TIG welder, and it was on my wish list. Well, some 8-ball magic happened again here, and there's a story behind it, and I hope you have a few minutes to listen to a story, because it's about our community here, the community of the guys here at YouTube and the machinist forums here. I just want to say I thank you to everybody out there. I've made a lot of friends, a lot of good friends that lucky to meet, lucky to communicate with, friends and information helpful. So let me start with the story. Of course, I guess all 8-ball luck discussions have to go back to Buck Run. I'll put his channel there. He's the one that had the 8-ball. I'm the one that stole some of the luck from it, and it's been riding a good wave for me. As you see the welder behind me, I was searching on Craigslist like I typically do, and there I saw a Miller Syncrowave 250 for $795. And I said, boy, that's a spanking deal right there. And so I read the ad, and it said, been using the weld, bought the welder, tested it before I brought it home, worked fine, got it home, never have gotten it to work. I'm just tired of fighting with it. I'd like to get $600 out of it. So, geez, it already dropped from $795 to $600 within the ad. I thought it was a good deal. Tom over at Ox Tool, as you know, he's a proficient welder, so I flipped him the ad and asked him what he thought, and he said, go, run as fast as you can. So the machines, they're rock solid, and shouldn't be an issue at all. So I put a phone call into the fellow that was selling the welder. He's up above Sacramento, so almost 2 hours away. And he said to me that I was second in, that a guy was going to come look at the welder the next morning, and if he didn't come, then I was next in line. So hung up the phone and happened to look at my email, and there's an email from Tom. And Tom had written a friend of his up above Sacramento that was close to where the welder was, and asked if he could maybe go look at it. And a subsequent email came from this person, and he said, be happy to go look at it for Chuck. He happens to watch my videos also. He actually wanted to stay anonymous, so we're not going to say names. He said, be happy to go look at it for him, and I'll buy it. I'll buy it and pick it up for him. And so I contacted him, thanked him for his offer, and told him I was second in, and I would give him a call if something changed, and just really appreciated his willingness to assist here. Well, the next morning, my wife and I were heading out of town, and about 9 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from the seller, and he says, hey, the guy backed out, he never showed, you're up. You want to buy the welder? And I says, well, I've got a guy in the area that says he'll come and look at it, and he'll pick it up for me. So yes. So hung up the phone, dialed the number to the friend up there, and caught him at breakfast with some buddies, I guess, and said, hey, I'm in. Can you, by chance, go take a look? And he says, well, as soon as I'm done with breakfast, he says, I think I got $600 on me. I'll go get it for you. I said, boy, thank you. So off I went on, my wife and I, as we took off, and he was going to meet the guy around 10 o'clock that day. 10:30. Well, I'm driving 10:30, you know, so I quarter to 11. Geez, I figure I'm going to get a phone call. No phone calls. And it must have been about an hour and a half later, I get a phone call. And he says, well, he goes, I've been here with the welder, with the seller. We've been trying to get the welder to weld. And all it does is blow the tungsten right out of it. And if you try to stick weld, it just digs craters. He goes, I don't know what to tell you. He says the seller paid $1,100 for the machine. He tested the machine before he brought it home. He brought it home, never could get it to weld. And also bought a brand new foot pedal for it, which is another $230 or something. And the guy was just disgusted. And so I said, well, what do you think? And he says, well, the guy's open to offers. And I said, well, you know, give me your impression. And he says, well, you know, he's open to offers. Make an offer. So I offered $300. And the guy said, sold, it's yours. So this fella, which is a super guy, they loaded it up on his truck, and he took it home. Paid the $300 for me. So I called him the next day and said, well, I got to make plans to get up there. It's close to a 2-hour drive. His comment was, I forget what he said, and I said, well, wait a minute. I says, have you fixed it for me? I mean, you must have already fixed it for me, right? And he said, no, I haven't fixed it. It's still in the back of my truck. I have no way to get it out. But I'm starting to like the machine, so you better come get it. So the next morning I drove up, and we went tailgate to tailgate and loaded the welder onto my truck. The fella that I got to meet, which I am just, take the welder out of the whole story. So happy to meet this fella. And he's got a shop. He's got a one-car shop. And in this one-car shop was a mill, a lathe, surface grinder, drill press, table saw. And the place was pristine. Ray would be hard-pressed to meet his cleanliness. Sorry about that, Ray. I had to throw you under the bus. No, but as I stood there and marveled in things, and he showed me some of the items he had built, which were just the best. Things in this shop, everything was so well positioned. As you stood there and kind of let your eyes wander, it's like, oh, there's a dividing head right there. Oh, yeah. Oh, there's this. There's that. Oh my God! Look at wow, and it was just amazing. Well, we had a very nice visit, and I wish he lived closer because I'd be hanging there. Shop and just a great guy. Well, so I made the trip home, and I'm 2 blocks from my house, and my phone pings, and I'm going. I look at it, and it's Stan Bar Z, and he goes, "Look what followed me home," and there's a picture of a Syncrowave 250 that he shows on there. Well, 2 blocks later, I'm in front of my house, and I walk to the back of my truck, and I take a picture of the back of my truck, and I send it back to Stan and said, well, look what's in the back of my truck. I just picked this guy up. Stan, when you sent me the text, I was 2 blocks away from my house, and look what's in the back of my truck that I just went and picked up. And we texted back and forth a couple times, and Stan, out of his generosity, asked, do you have a bottle with the purchase? And I says, no, there's no bottle. And he says, well, he goes, I forgot an extra bottle and a flow gauge. He goes, you're welcome to have it. And I wrote him back, and I said, you know, thank you for your generosity. I have a buddy that's up in Sonoma that actually has an extra bottle and a flow gauge that he's going to give me. It's only an hour and a half compared to driving all the way to LA. So I really appreciate it, Stan, your generosity. So, okay, the welder's home. The welder that doesn't work is now home. And hang on one second. I'm just going to make sure. I'm going to stop the camera and restart because my camera sometimes doesn't keep going. Okay, I'm back. The camera was recording, but I just didn't know for sure. So anyway, the welder that doesn't work is now here. So I get here, and my good friend Carl, who's done some videos from his shop with the comparator and a couple other things we've done over at Carl's. He was well interested into the whole welder scenario here, and so I called him up and says, well, it's here. And so he understood that it possibly had electrical problems, and so he was electrical contractor, so he was definitely interested. So Carl comes over, and he has a TIG welder, and I don't have one, so I have someone at least help me try this. So we unloaded out of the truck, and since I don't have a bottle, and the bottle that's there now that you see behind me is Carl's bottle, but he didn't bring the bottle over, and so we attempt to arc weld with the machine. So we set it all up, and we're doing some 60-13, and I run a pass and pull up my helmet. So let me try another one, Carl. Run another pass. Welded nice. So I go to Carl, I go, Carl, try this. So Carl comes over, strikes an arc, he runs the pass, lifts the helmet, looks at me, and just says, I want one. Oh my God. And I was smirking, and I was going, this is pretty amazing. The thing welds like silk, and supposedly it didn't weld at all. So Carl went home, and I played with it the rest of the day, burning up all the 60-13 I had around here. So anyway, life's good. So thinking, boy, I got this spanking deal. And as I'm driving Carl back home that day, I says, damn, Carl, I says, my buddy used to have this saying, like a jackass eating smiling like a jackass eating onions. And man, my grin was from ear to ear. So anyway, the next day, Carl calls me and he goes, come over and get my bottle, and let's try to TIG weld with it. So I go over, pick him up, we load the bottle up, bring it over, hook up the TIG welder on it, and boom, just blows the tungsten right out of the TIG weld, out of the gun. Try it again, blows it, just keeps eating the tungsten right up. And we're both baffled. So I said, Carl, let's go back to square one. Let's try arc welding with it again, stick welding. So we flip it back to the setting to stick weld. And when we stick weld the day before, we stick welded in AC and DC. So we just assume that there's no problem with TIG welding. Well, we flip it back to the settings we did with the stick welding, and just blew the stick right apart, and just craters, and it would start to weld and just go like it was pulling 400 or 500 amps or something. So we're both perplexed. All the skin comes off the machine. We put a phone call into the Miller tech, explained stuff to him. The fellow up that went and picked up the machine had already done this and had his own opinions, and had shared all his opinions, and we called and talked to him some more, talked to the Miller tech, and no answer to what was going to solve the problem. So I load Carl back in the truck to take him home, and we're about a block from his house, and he looks over at me and he goes, damn, he goes, those onions ain't too sweet right now, huh, you jackass? And we had a hell of a laugh. And so I come home, and I'm perplexed. I fiddle and touch every electrical component into the thing, and by some luck of the draw, I managed to get it to stick weld again. I don't know why, but it would stick weld again. Well, bring back Tom Lipton into the whole scenario. I talked to Tom, Tom was going like, nah. He goes, I fixed a bunch of these. There's nothing much to them. He goes, let me see if I can find time, and I'll come over on the weekend. And unfortunately, Tom couldn't come over, and I understand he's a busy man, and it's a little over an hour drive to boot. So I had no issues with that, and I really appreciate his offer and the fact that he's coaching from the sideline there. So now comes Monday, and I said, that's it. So I load up the welder and I take it to the service shop. And we had actually talked to Miller, and Miller had said, this shop's great, and I've dealt with him over the years, just the little bit of welding that I do by buying some stuff there. So I take it there, and he goes, yeah, my service guy doesn't work full time. He comes in, I'll let you know something, Tuesday or Wednesday. Well, Tuesday, Wednesday come along, nothing. So Thursday I call, leave a voicemail, phone message, multiple calls, never get a call back. I'm starting to get pissed off. Friday I finally managed to get a hold of him, and he says, well, my guy worked on it, seems to be working okay, and let me give you till Monday, Tuesday, just to make sure. And so really no information, and the welder's still there. Well, Monday, Tuesday go by, no phone call. Wednesday, I can't remember if I got a phone call. I started calling, and I think I finally got a hold of him on Thursday. And I'm pretty well pissed off now. But I'm not a yeller, I'm not a screamer. It's not going to get me anything. And finally get a hold of him. And meanwhile, I've already talked to another repair shop, said I could have it out in 3 days. It doesn't sound like it's a big deal. So I'm ready to go pick the welder up and take it someplace else. Getting a little frustrated. Well, he says, no, it's all repaired. Come on, you pick it up Friday. Just come on over and pick it up. Just tell me what time. And it had been raining. Thursday we had the monster storm here in California, and it wouldn't have been a day to go get it anyway. And just side note, no issues here at my house. A lot of rain, but no issues. So anyway, I go get the welder on Friday, and it's all packaged, ready to load up. And I said, well, I wanted to try it to make sure it works. He goes, well, we could do that. And so we go back, and he gets it unpackaged, hooks it up, hooks the bottle up, and starts asking me questions if I know how to weld. And do I know how to TIG weld? And I said, not really. And I said, I'd really like to do aluminum. And he goes, well, do you know how to ball the tungsten and this and that? Oh, no, I don't know. So here the guy I'm pissed off at takes half an hour or better, 45 minutes, and goes through everything on the machine and explains things to me, what I need to do and this and that. I'm taken back. Welder welds fine right there in his shop. And what the paperwork says on the repair, it says checked at power source and reworked ground assembly. Removed cable used for stick welding causing grounding issues. Adjusted amperage, high frequency, and contactor knob. Weld tested 2 times AC and DC. Weld test okay. $78. So I'm into this welder for $378. Sweet deal. Well, I loaded it in my truck. So what do I know about this welder? I know a guy that said it worked great, bought it, got in the truck and drove and brought it home, and it don't weld. I loaded it in a truck, I drive it a couple hundred miles, put it there in the ground, and it welds. Then it doesn't weld. So I loaded it in the truck, and I'm driving home, and I'm thinking, this can't be true. I'm going to bring this thing home, I'm going to put it down on the ground, and it's not going to weld. Well, I have good news. It welds. I brought it home, plugged it in, and I won't show you any of my test pieces that I'm learning on aluminum, but I welded on aluminum, and I welded on steel, and both in AC and DC, and hooked up the stick welder, and just to see if hooking up the stick welder was going to create a problem, and stick welded without an issue. So it appears that my 8-ball magic luck, or whatever we want to call it, or just dumb luck, hit like a son of a gun. Okay, well, the camera did stop this time, so let me try to sum this up and finish where I was at. So the welder's working fine, so I call Carl, tell Carl the story, how things are going good, and he says, boy, Jackass, you're grazing in some tall onions now. So right now everything's working fine, and my 8-ball magic luck, or my dumb luck, or my persistence in chasing things came through, and I've got a spanking deal on an arc weld. I mean, on my TIG welder. And I want to just sincerely thanks out to Tom for assisting, for Anonymous for assisting, for Stan for his offer and assisting discussions, my buddy Dave, who did I leave out? And Carl. I forgot if I said Carl. Really appreciate it, and hope to show you some welding here in the future on more projects. A couple closing things. I don't know if you could see these in the video or not. These are, I saw them at Home Depot, wasn't looking for them. They're for picture frames for packaging and shipping. Well, they happen to fit my welding table right on the corner. And this welding table, the height of the table, is 1.25 inches thick, is right at my grandkid's forehead height and my hip height. Either one's going to cause some bad damage when you walk into the corner. So when the table's really not in use for working, those protectors are on. And in closing, just want to say thank you. I've got almost 4,000 subscribers now. Really appreciate it. I'm taken back, and new subscribers all the time. And I'll keep pumping videos. Seems like everybody enjoys it, and I really appreciate it. Want to wish everybody happy holidays. Have a safe and family holiday. I hope everything's enjoyable. And maybe my 8-ball magic might have just run out. To be continued. Bought these two guys. Yeah, I think it's in focus there. And I don't know. I brought it home and said maybe I didn't do good on these. But that'll be another story. Again, thanks for watching, and take care.